Hello viewers, welcome to my third game development diary vlog bloggy type video thing. This weekend I participated in the Bacon Game Jam, 48-hour game jam, not related to bacon, sadly enough, but the theme this time around, this is the 8th Bacon Jam, the theme is millions of them. I entered the jam about 14 hours late. I just happened to have been working on a kind of particle entity system where it could handle about 10,000 Unity 2D sprites, all being active and moved towards the, a rectangle, but it was supposed to be my player character. I had actually created this little demo thing during the first 14 hours of the game jam, and I didn't realize I'd be entering. But I saw a post on Reddit about the Bacon Game Jam, and I saw that the theme was millions of them, and I thought, hey, I can totally have millions of objects. So I went ahead and found an artist friend of mine named Yuki, and we created a little spaceship shooter. We called it Super Turbo Ship Puncher 3. A silly reference to Doom 3 and Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3. Anyways, you can play in the web player, or you can download Windows binaries. I do recommend that you use an Xbox 360 controller to play the game, because if you don't, it's not going to be as easy to play. We can see here we have a little intro screen and then a little thing telling you about your health, controls, all that stuff. Kind of the old school arcade kind of a thing. Press any button on the controller and the game starts. And you can see that it immediately gets hard and it immediately tries to give you seizures because there's a lot of flashing, there's a lot of movements, and you can die pretty fast if you go straight through the swarm. We added a big laser thing, mostly because I think Yuki wanted to make a laser graphic, and it turned out to be an interesting mechanic. If you can kind of just wipe all the enemies that are on the screen with the laser, but the gun, the main gun, when it kills an enemy, it actually drops more loot, and loot gives you health. For every 10 pieces of loot you pick up, you get 1 point of health. So if you get good at dodging and you get good at staying away from the crowd, you can actually regenerate probably all of your health back. I don't know, the game's kind of hard, and a lot of times all the loot gets, it gets stuck in the crowd. So we talked about making the magnet stronger, but I already thought the magnet was pretty strong, and you're just going to have to find a way to get through the crowd to pick up all the pixels, all the little dots, all the loot. And when you die, you get a little game over screen. We found the music on SoundCloud, music by BitChild. We put his little logo avatar there. When I update the description on the page, I'll probably link to his SoundCloud. I have to update a lot of descriptions because, the game's kind of silly. There's not that much to say about it, I guess, other than it's really flashy, and I think it's kind of cool for a 48-hour project that just happened to work with the 10,000 sprites I was planning on rendering. I'll go ahead and exit the web player and pull up a desktop build so I can play it at full screen. A lot of the code is really bad. I streamed the development to Twitch, not all of the entire development process, but a good 6 hours of it, and my internet's not so good, so the Twitch stream is kind of low quality, but I figured if anyone wants to watch it, they can, so it's on Twitch with the video on demand, and I went ahead and exported it to YouTube. I think it actually looks better on Twitch. Maybe because it's just converted a little less than what YouTube did to it. But you can watch it wherever. I'll put the links probably in the description if we're lucky. But we were going to have a goal. We actually have a win screen for if you get 1,000,000 points, because the theme was millions, or millions of them. Millions of kills would be kind of difficult. Each enemy has, I think they can take 1 to 2 hits. It kind of varies. It looks like they actually die with only 1 hit. We added health points, but we might probably definitely could have tweaked things. Balance is kind of a big issue here. We also wanted to have bosses and everything, but 48 hours minus 14 hours minus sleep just doesn't give you enough time to really make anything the way you plan. Unless you plan to make something really small. But I'm kind of proud of it. The physics system kind of demands that I put these boundaries here because the way I'm dividing the game into a grid so that I can process less collisions. Instead of checking every entity colliding with every other entity and making a very long and painful for loop, we go, every grid cell has its own collision list. It's a little bit like quad tree, but not as fancy. It's just spatial hashing. And it makes the collisions fast enough that I usually get about 300 frames per second, which, you know, as long as it's above 60, it's good with me. My machine's kind of medium, so on a lower machine, I don't think you'll ever actually go below 60 unless you're on a netbook maybe. But if you're on a netbook, you're probably used to games kind of not being so great. The biggest hurdle, or the biggest bottleneck, is actually Unity 2D sprite renderer, and I guess the dynamic batching that's involved, because collision wasn't even a bottleneck. I almost don't think I needed spatial hashing. The sprite renderer, or the batching, or something in there, I just can't render that many objects on screen, that many particles. I guess there's probably vertex color attributes. If I went ahead and made a custom shader that made each one of these loop particles a single vertex, I probably could have got away with a lot more. If I did some actual GPU stuff, I almost definitely could have got away with more, but you just can't do that in 48 hours. So that's pretty much all there is to it. We also, of course, wanted power-ups. I mean, we wanted everything in the world, but scope creep and all that, it's just not possible. Oh, and the laser is unlimited. I can sit here and spam it, so it's very overpowered. It's game breaking. It ruins balance. It's not fair, basically. But I thought it was pretty cool. I did copy some guy's code for circle versus line collisions because, well, it's just faster that way. But I went ahead and tweeted him and thanked him for making his code public on his blog. And that's how the laser just slices right through all of these enemies. Even though the laser has a wide graphic, the hitbox for it is actually an infinitely thin line. So you have to be careful to make sure you actually do slow sweeping over the enemies, because if you just spin around really fast, they can go in between the rays. And that's another problem with the keyboard controls, because as you can see here, you don't get the smoothness you would with a 360 controller. And the shooting angles there's no smoothness there. You can only aim at like right angles or 45-degree angles. So playing with the keyboard makes it a lot harder. And the spacebar to shoot, see how enemies just go right in between the thing, because you can only snap it to those angles. Now I could have smoothed the rotation, but then I would have had to make a different case for the keyboard than the controller, because if you had smoothed the rotation with the controller, it would just feel awful. I want to be able to say, I want to shoot left, I want to shoot right, I want to shoot left, I want to shoot right. I want to be able to just snap my controller around and do that. I don't want some kind of smoothing that would slowly spray my bullets across the screen. So, needless to say, it's kind of a controller-only game, even though you can play it with a keyboard. The other thing I ended up doing this week was a one-button platformer. It's very simple, basically no art whatsoever. And this was another one of those games where I'm like, I need to make one game a day. Here's my game for today, kind of a thing. So there's only one button. You can play it with a controller, or spacebar, or whatever you want. And you can see it's pretty simple. And the game resets you very quickly if you die, which would be frustrating if you had to see like a, you suck, you lose, game over, and restart all over again. Basically, if you die, you're immediately warped back. And there's only, I think, 8 levels, maybe less, maybe more. And you can see how it gets a lot harder. My goodness. Oh, there we go. It can even frustrate me. Wow, yeah, see, these levels. Oh, goodness. Come on. Oh, God, I suck. Yeah, it's good if you are the developer of the game and you're just still terrible at it. I'm sure other people would be like, this game's easy. Oh, that was lucky. That's usually a really hard one. Ta-da! I jumped over the things, I defeated the things, I rock. I don't even know if more than an hour or two was put into that. So, one last thing I want to show is a game that I was going to show in my last developer vlog thing, and I forgot about it because, well, it wasn't great. It was a little project. It wasn't one of my one game a day things. It was something I was showing someone how to make, kind of a platformer zombie shooter thing. And he supplied a little bit of artwork, and the rest of the artwork is like brown rectangles and stuff, so it is not a pretty game. But here it is. And I added Android controls because, I don't know, Android. So you touch boxes and then they'll expose their loot. There's enemies, you shoot them, there's health bars, there's a bunch of particles, there's a Minecrafty like spawner thing, and the sound effects, of course, were taken from Minecraft for picking up little, I guess, experience orbs, and I ran out of ammo, so I'm going to die. The sound is positional. You know, that's something Unity just does, but I adjusted the fall-offs and stuff, so it sounded kind of good with a 2D game. I'm going to go ahead and die. It just immediately resets you. There's not a dead screen or anything. It's just a really simple, God, I don't even know what you'd call it. Prototype? Yeah. There's a time-slowing mechanic. I don't know if it's right-click. Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh goodness, you have to hold it down. But yeah, you can slow down time, and wow, it doesn't seem to work. It might be broken. Or maybe I'm nuts. Either one. Oh, and there's no health, so I'm gonna die again. There's 3 different kinds of monsters. The crawlers, they're all slow, medium guys, and the really fast ones that jump really high. The AI, if you can call it that, they just move towards you, and if they're ever stopped, they jump. And the nice thing about that is that it makes them able to climb stairs. Because if they're coming towards you, and they get stopped on a wall, then the only thing they can really do is jump. Now see, this guy, he's way too fast, so it's kind of hard to demonstrate it. Okay, but this guy here, he's perfect. So see, as soon as he gets stopped, he'll start jumping. See that? And he also, if you jump over him, quite often his velocity becomes 0 while he's switching directions. So if you jump over him, he'll kind of jump. So he's not smart enough to, you know, jump on this platform up here. But you can see that on any, you know, kind of easy slopes, he just walks right up the stairs. And then the super jumpers, they're ridiculous. But, you know, this was just to kind of show someone how to do something like this. Obviously, This would need serious polish to become a thing. I probably won't be touching this project again, but who knows? Maybe with a bunch of proper art it could actually become something cool. And that's pretty much all I did this week. I'm gonna try streaming to Twitch a little bit more. Probably end up doing another game jam at the end of the week. I'm not completely certain if I'm gonna do that. I've signed up for GameJolt and Itch, and I'm gonna try pushing all my little projects onto those websites to make them easily accessible, downloadable, and whatnot. So I'll try to keep making these vlog, video, blog, dev diary things. Oh goodness, right, the Rampage clone. I didn't end up doing anything with that. I don't know why, it just seemed like it was going to become kind of complicated with the layers, not having render textures and having to use the 4.6 UI. I've found a couple of weird bugs or inconsistencies and things. The UI has some small bugs that were just kind of annoying to work around, and it kind of ruined morale for making the Rampage clone. So unless I found a better way to do it, maybe some pre-damaged building sprites or something that I could just swap out of there for, you know, like each window could be pre-damaged or something, then I might do that again. I might still do the Rampage clone, but I have no plans to do it right now. We'll see next week if I end up making it this week or not. It's also kind of a little bit more art than, you know, I'm used to or than I can do. I mean, I probably can't draw a very good monkey or large lizard or anything. So unless I get an artist to actually help with it, it would probably just be Attack of the Green Rectangles. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, do whatever. And you guys keep being awesome.